Everyone is asking, when is the release date?
God damn it, Joe. Give us the release date.
I don't know when. We didn't get any freaking release date or anything.
No specific date yet, but they did say this year, so I'm guessing it's going to be soon.
What if they didn't put a release date because they actually plan on releasing it really soon?
That's it, it's now official. Wardogs is releasing into Steam Early Access next month, on the 10th of September. Steam pre-orders for Wardogs are live right now. Pre-ordering will guarantee you access into our upcoming closed beta ahead of release, allowing anyone who's interested in the game to try it out and refund the game if you don't like it. We fully get opening pre-orders for an early access game is kind of out of left field. So for context, opening pre-orders now helps us more accurately predict how many players and servers we need to be running in each region, which will massively help ensure stability at launch. After our insane response to our closed alpha weekend, we just thought, why not? Our time is now. We just want to remind everyone that you can refund pre-orders and that we're more than okay with that, as it's the best way to open early access to the game for players who most want it without fully opening the floodgates. However, before the hype train gets out of control, we want to do something most AAA marketing teams would tell their dev teams to never do. Give you 10 legitimate reasons why you should not buy Wardogs. Reason number one is the lack of content and the speed at which we deliver it. Our focus has been on core gameplay and performance. From a business standpoint, we invested most of our money into those things, leaving less for content and the shiny things that actually sell games. What I'm saying is Wardogs has a content problem. We are launching with 37 weapons, 21 vehicles, and 3 maps, with each of those maps having 3 variations within them. But after launch into early access next month, we'll be focusing on bug fixes, keeping the devs on hand to react to major feedback points, and a new map. But beyond that, in order to hit the 1.0 release with our metagame and truly deliver on our vision for Wardogs as a title that can go the distance, we need to make sure that our devs are focused on exactly that. As a result, players should not expect regular content drops. We will update the game regularly, but the focus will be on balancing and fixing issues, just as early access was intended for. We want to make sure your expectations are set here before you purchase. You shouldn't expect monthly map updates or new vehicles being added. That's the plan for after 1.0. For now, we want to focus on building the metagame and making the improvements we identify throughout early access. And as a result, we're going to price it accordingly.
Wardogs is not cheap to make, and at full release, Wardogs will cost $59.99. But we haven't delivered the metagame yet. If the game doesn't have all the features, we can't charge full price, so we're cutting it to $49.99. But with the lack of content in year 1 of Wardogs, we can't fairly justify that either, so we're cutting it to $39.99. Throughout development, we will step the pricing up to $49.99 when the relevant updates are delivered throughout that first year. Then, when we come true on our commitment to deliver the metagame and all the content in 1.0, then and only then will we step the price up to $59.99. Right now, you can pre-order Wardogs for $39.99 on Steam and get access to the beta. And if you don't enjoy the beta, or you just don't think the price is right, just refund it. We see this stair-stepped pricing approach as being the fairest method to reward the players who brought into Wardogs early, whilst also delivering a financial boost to the game later in its development, as we seek to continue to add value to the game. If the price feels too high for an early access game, please don't buy it yet. Wait until the game has more of what you want and consider it then.
Wardogs is performing beyond our expectations, with 800,000 wishlists and rising, but we still need to be level-headed about player expectations. Yes, we do expect our initial days after launch to have a lot more players than we expected, but we can tell you for a fact this is something completely normal, that those players will fall away over the next coming months. Player numbers will drop off, and journalists and influencers on the fringe of the community will try and rage bait your enjoyment out of the game for social media clicks. This doesn't mean the game is dying. We're thinking longer term than a flash in the pan. Our goal is to settle into a sustainable, close-knit community. If we're pulling in 3,000 to 5,000 daily concurrent players who genuinely love the game, it'll allow new players to buy in at any time and join an active community, whilst we're free to keep building upon the Wardogs foundation toward the larger 1.0 release.
Reason number 4 is monetization. Why am I always doing these like evil business ones? Can I please just have like a cool game mechanic or something really fun? Okay. There are 3 things relating to monetization that you can hold us to account on. Number 1, we will not monetize the game at any point during early access. Number 2, we will never monetize in-game cash or gold bars. They must be earned through play. And number 3, we will never allow you to purchase camos. Camos should show a player's status, not how much money they have. I think at this point we've made it abundantly clear there will be no monetization during early access, with the sole exception of an optional supporters edition. This includes 3 starter weapon skins, a little bird skin, and a couple of bobbleheads. It also includes a tag on the scoreboard for players who want to show off their support in-game. However, we don't want the stance here to be misconstrued of Wardogs never having monetization at all. That's not what we're saying. Wardogs will release into 1.0 and launch on multiple platforms, giving us a large boost in base game sales that we can use to reinvest into the game for post-release. However, Bulkhead will have ongoing running costs, player vault storage stats, telemetry, anti-cheat updates, and servers on top of continued development costs that are expenses that need to be justifiable long-term if base game sales no longer cover those costs. And to be clear, we're talking years in advance. It might seem strange to be talking about monetization that's years down the line, but we want you to be able to buy in knowing what you're buying into long term. We hope that we've shown that we're more than happy to have open discussions to explore different approaches to problems before committing to them. Sometimes we will be a bit off the mark, but good faith conversation is how we intend to find an acceptable line years in advance that feels fair and allows us to justify the continuous stream of content we want to serve up many years post 1.0 release. The Wardogs intellectual property is owned solely by Bulkhead, the developer. We have control of the future of Wardogs. So to wrap that point up, we recommend you don't buy Wardogs if you're staunchly against any form of monetization, as you'll become disappointed in a few years post-release. Our goal is not to bleed players dry until they quit, it's to break even and then reinvest those profits.
If you're buying Wardogs for the next breakthrough in video game graphics, you're in the wrong place. On the flip side, if you're expecting the performance of a 5v5 competitive shooter like Counter-Strike or Valorant, you're also in the wrong place. We've done a lot of work to make UE5 FPS ready over a range of hardware, but if you're expecting to play native 4K at 240 FPS, Wardogs is not the game for you. Every player's bar for what is acceptable performance is different, and we think what we've achieved with Wardogs is actually pretty good considering the scale and the ambition of the title, and our alpha testers have also shared that same opinion. If you have a lower spec rig and want more confidence before pre-ordering, then have a look at our Steam page's minimum and recommended specs, and then check out our latest devlog where we show our alpha build running on a range of different hardware. Alternatively, pre-order the game, join in the beta, and if you don't get the performance you're looking for, or it doesn't live up to the hype, just refund the game. No hard feelings.
We intend to use early access how it was originally intended, letting you play the early access build that shows the potential of Wardogs, whilst we work towards unlocking the full potential at 1.0. However, we will not have a linear roadmap or fixed content. Instead, we'll be testing things live with the community, much like we've been doing during our closed tests, at seemingly random times as the priorities of our development timeline shift. We know early access has earned a bad reputation because many games forever remain in their unfinished state with no plan to ever release. Wardogs has a plan and will reach full release roughly 24 months after launching into early access in September. Reaching 1.0 isn't just important for us financially, it's about delivering our full vision for the game and launching on multiple platforms to even more players.
Yes, we are the developers of Battalion 1944. That's not hidden information or something we shy away from. 10 years ago, when Bulkhead was much smaller and our developers much younger, we kickstarted and created a back to basics 5v5 World War II shooter called Battalion 1944. I think as much as we wanted Battalion to succeed, with the low player numbers of only 50 to 200 daily players, our publisher relationships kind of broke down, and the console version was held in limbo by lawyers, and we'd burned through our profits supporting the game. So when we went dark on communication, it was way darker than we should have gone. And truthfully, we just didn't have anything to talk about other than the failure of Battalion and the glimmers of hope and passion project we were working on in our spare time. The entire time since Battalion died, we felt like we owed the community a debt we just couldn't pay. Thankfully, work for hire projects came in and helped keep the studio alive. And eventually we saved enough money to be able to take the unprecedented step in refunding every Kickstarter backer who helped us bring Battalion to life in the first place. And it's these lessons and scars from Battalion that Wardogs has been built upon. It's why we've been so cautious with our playtesting and why we've been so open with our marketing. To be really clear, we wouldn't have Wardogs without Battalion's failure. But if you still don't trust our studio because of Battalion 1944, don't rush to buy Wardogs. We hope our actions speak louder than words, and you're always welcome to join the fun if you're willing to give our team another chance.
Wardogs has local VoIP heard by all 3 teams, and that means players will naturally talk shit. And not just players, the devs are going to do it too.
I wasn't even paying attention, Jay. I bet you think you're fucking good as well, mate.
If you are more sensitive to that kind of banter, you do have the option to mute individual players or VoIP entirely, and disable the text chat. However, there is a line between banter and being a dickhead, and that line can be drawn by the community server admins per server and ultimately by us, the devs. Just for the record, if the devs that got banned from Twitch have to get involved and ban you, it's very likely that you're a dick.
Wardogs is designed as a PC-focused game for PC players first, but we know that some players want to just use gamepads, so there will be partial gamepad support at early access launch. However, keyboard and mouse will always be the optimal way to experience Wardogs on PC. With controller support comes the topic of aim assist. This will exist, but only to a small degree, as playing without it is honestly just comically bad. There aren't any handouts in Wardogs though. It requires mastery, skill, and knowledge to succeed, regardless of input. If the idea someone wants to play with a gamepad is a deal breaker for you, then don't buy Wardogs. Nobody likes dying. In Wardogs especially, if you're running in like you're playing Call of Duty or Battlefield, you will likely die to someone playing more cautiously. If you're not willing to learn from those deaths, you're gonna have a bad time. One of the complaints we see from players is about how long it takes to get back into the control zone after you die, blissfully unaware that this is your punishment for dying, which creates an entire value vector for alternate roles such as pilots and drivers getting you back into the action. Instead of an arbitrary respawn timer on your UI like an arcade shooter, in Wardogs your respawn timer is instead based on the choices you make from spawn. Should you buy a vehicle or catch a lift? Which vehicle is the fastest? Can you trust that pilot or not? It all matters. How and who you travel with, how fast you're willing to get there, and deciding the optimal route to get back into the action. Getting from the safe zone to the control zone, to holding on and respawning. Every decision has risks and consequences, with every outcome etched into your account balance. It's your cash, your decisions, your consequences. We've said it before, Wardogs is not for everyone. So if you can't cope with those stakes, you may want to play something else instead. There you go. There's 10 reasons you shouldn't buy Wardogs. If you're still here after all of that, Wardogs Early Access might actually be for you. But why are we laboring these points? For us, it all comes down to confidence. Confidence that you're buying a product from a team with a vision. We're not saying our game is perfect. We're saying, here's our plan, here's our vision, we know what we want to make. We've got the confidence to put Wardogs in your hands before it's fully complete. Confidence that we've spent the last 4 years building something that players genuinely want. And confidence that Wardogs is not being made for everyone is the reason it will succeed. And if we're right, the commitment to take our profits and go all in on making our 1.0 release everything we know it can be. With a blessing from Valve, Wardogs Early Access and Supporters Edition is available to pre-order now, and purchasing will guarantee you access to our closed beta on the 21st of August to help you decide if you've made the right choice. You've listened and you've watched. Now is the time to play.